Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our story with a video about an unusual car deal. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Selling a car as is. Around 10 years ago, I had someone abandon an '87 Volkswagen Westfalia on my property. The car ran fine, but the shifter linkage had disconnected while he was driving, so he had it towed to my house. Fast forward a year, the guy who owned it had moved away, the vehicle no longer starts, and neither of us want anything to do with it. He sends me a pink slip, and I make an ad on Craigslist listing the vehicle for $300. I get a response the same day, and a guy comes to check it out. As we're chatting, I explain the situation to the guy, tell him the vehicle ran great before it sat around, and if I could get it started, that I would be asking more for it. I could tell that the guy didn't trust the story that I told him, and he asked me if it's okay if he checks out the vehicle. I tell him of course, but reiterate the point, if it ran, I'd be asking a lot more for it. The guy spends the next 15 minutes going through the whole vehicle. He confirms that the vehicle is in great shape and that the linkage was indeed missing a bolt. At this point, I'm annoyed. I say one last time, yes, just like I said, the vehicle's in great shape, and if I could figure out how to get it started, I'd be asking a lot more for it. The guy then turns the key and hears that it turns over but doesn't start. He then opens the hood, sees that the distributor cap wasn't clipped on. He clips it back on, jumps in the driver's seat, and it starts right up. He jumps out and excitingly claims, "I'll take it." I tell him, "Cool, man. If it starts, I'm going to be asking more for it, so the price is $500 now." He argues with me, saying that it wasn't fair because he was the one who fixed it. He ended up leaving and I sold it the next day for $1,400, which was still a great deal for whoever bought it. Great story. He checked the car himself, and if he would have been quiet, he'd have gotten a great deal. And our next story. You brazenly refuse me service? Say goodbye to your job. Starting off nearly 10 years ago, I started to study in IT with a lot of my friends. Being nerds ever since middle school, it was inevitable to happen. Most of us were in different classes, though, one into software while the other was in the hardware field of expertise. We know most of each other still very well to this day, to which I'm glad that school friendships last this long. This is important for later. A couple years later, when I got work, I finally got myself on a budget to really unpack for some good quality laptop. But this joy was not long to last. My computer had a factory malfunction. It wasn't notable at first, but the issue escalated as time went on. Since the warranty for these matters was 2 years, I saw no rush, but at a certain point I thought enough is enough. One summer, I brought my laptop to the store in order to let it go by for repairs. 3 weeks later, yes, it genuinely took this long, I get a call from the store I bought my laptop at saying that it was ready for pickup. I was relieved as this waiting time was unusual for repairs. By this time, I'd made a friend at my local board game store that also happened to work at the store I bought my laptop from. We'll call him Tom. Tom and I had gaming sessions a couple of times as he was also invested into online games a lot, and so we got well connected. But a month in, it happened again. My video card was acting up again. Tom explained to me that this was likely just a plug from the video card not being properly connected to the motherboard, or that the connector had dust in between. The easier fix was just to open it and clean it, but 1. Support forums showed that this was a global issue with this graphics card model. 2. As per the TOS of the store, opening your laptop forfeits the right for warranty as there's no proof anymore if something's your own fault or not. I decide not to risk it and let the professionals handle it. So once again, I sent it to the store. Tom messages me later saying they delivered it right away to the manufacturer like they usually do. Another 3 weeks of waiting and being unable to do anything digitally. By now, it had become winter, and from some other people of my local board game store, we scheduled to meet up in order to play Dungeons & Dragons. To my surprise, I saw that the host, we'll call him Harry, was using a laptop for DMing, music, information, etc., and the laptop was the exact same brand and model as mine was. After our first session, I got to talk with Harry and slowly turned into the direction of our laptops. Harry confirmed he had this too, but never bothered to get it repaired as it wasn't obstructing his usage, plus relied on having one too much. But as you can guess, when my laptop returned, it was not fixed. Whatever competence or information their repair department had, it didn't apply for as I still struggled with it. Never got the part replaced or repaired. We're now a little more than 2 years ago from present day, and my laptop's got serious damage from another party. Someone closed the laptop with a cable between the screen and the case, causing the screen to get ripped out of the hinges. The laptop still kinda worked, but I couldn't open it. Time to get this repaired. For real this time. I hand in my laptop at the store and get it delivered to the manufacturer. 2 weeks passed, nothing. 3 weeks passed, nothing. 5 weeks passed. I grow impatient and then step to Tom before we both go to the store. They told us that we need to contact the manufacturer, and so I decide to make an angry call and mail at them. After much of a hassle, the manufacturer loops me back to the store as they're not allowed to share information towards their product owners when their products are sold via a store. Next day arrives when I go back to the store until I heard horrifying news. My laptop was deemed irreparable. I requested my laptop to be returned as it's still my property, to which they can't, as they say, as part of it being declared irreparable, it's already been destroyed. I was seething because I'd signed no contract or anything of the sort that I officially distanced myself from the product, but had to sign it if I wanted to become eligible for a full refund. They gave me back the money I paid for it, but not the extra RAM card that I bought with it, yet which did end up getting destroyed too by the manufacturer. To this day, it still aggravates me intensely that they handled my product like this, and I wanted to sue them for destroying owned property, but we had no case as I didn't buy the laptop from their manufacturer, but from a distributor instead. And they did end up refunding. Plus, I'd already signed the contract before I browsed that option. But you're here for the revenge, aren't you? Enter Michael, one of my classmates from school all those years ago. When I was with the last finishing up business on customer support, I noticed a very familiar name under the greeting liner on the bottom of the mail. Coincidences could exist. It's not the person, but just a similar name. But I entered contact with them after having been out of touch for a long while. It was actually him. He said that he only recently worked for the computer repairs department of the manufacturer. We got to talking here and there and explained how their process works. In short, he explained that a product is deemed irreparable if it's been delivered 3 times and still could not find a resolution for it. He knows nothing, however, of the destruction of the laptop, as this goes through different people. Michael also explained that he was not all too happy with how his colleagues were operating. Our studies were educating us with moderate working standards, and the people he worked for were horrid. Repairs took very long, not the initial repairs, just the process time, which was always the maximum legal time span, by the book. Sometimes repairs were very sloppy, had no communication with customers about the issue, and often if something could not be properly repaired, they just send it back marked as fixed. Also, per their manufacturer standard, they put a crapload of adware on your product, programs that usually come pre-installed upon purchasing a computer. I was shocked to hear this was happening behind the scenes, and no longer surprises me, but moreover disgusts me. That's how and why my laptop was gone for so long and returned without any improvements. But so we hatched a plan. Since it's been some time, Harry's laptop had fallen redundant and he no longer used it. I asked him where it was. He said it was just collecting dust somewhere. He couldn't sell it since it had fabrication issues, but I had a very bright plan with it. I told him my plan, and he just gave it to me, together with a sly grin of approval. Together with Harry and Tom, we cleaned out the laptop and made it look as much as possible like a typical gamer's laptop. Note that this one was bought much later than mine, and it was still in the 2-year warranty. I also brought Michael up to date on what our plan was. He laughed as we told him our plan, and was fully supporting the idea. The laptop clearly was also suffering from the same graphics issue, so we sent it in for repair. To no surprise, it came back 3 weeks later with no improvement. Strike 1. We sent it back again after a week, and as you can guess, it came back 3 weeks later, no change. Strike 2. I instructed Harry to retrieve the proof of purchase, and we sent out the laptop for the 3rd and final repair. As we all guessed, this one did not come back after 3 weeks, and in week 4 we made our call with the manufacturer. Similar to what happened with me, Harry also heard that his laptop was deemed irreparable, and when asked for it to be returned, it was destroyed. He was offered a full refund if he would sign the contract for distancing himself from the product, but this time he refused. And we had a clear shot to sue them now, and we took it. It took us a week or two, but we actually ended up acing our case and got them sued for unauthorized destruction of property. His proof of purchase and their lack of proof that we had signed any form of contract gave them no right to destroy our property. We got a full refund plus additional money for the emotional and digital damages, as there were files on our laptop. He gave me the money I lost for my RAM card that was destroyed, and the rest was spent in some good quality gaming. A week later, I hit up Michael again to ask how things went. It turned out that most of the employers in the repair department were fired due to the lack of service compliance and quality, at their direct responsibility, including those that had the say in whether a product was irreparable or not. Most of the thorns on his working floor were gone now. The four of us oftentimes talk about this to this day, each time ending with a laugh, but we couldn't find any better way to execute this. The shipping here costs nothing because it's all paid for by the manufacturer, so long as it's for repairs and returns only. And so the only thing we invested into this time is time. Time that was very well spent. That's beautiful. I'm guessing with the money, you got yourself some new sweet stuff? Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.